Annyeonghaseyo, all my beautiful people. How are you doing today? It has been a hot minute since I posted a video, but I have been watching trials so that we can have a conversation about the disgraced lawyer. And I'm not talking about Alex Murdaugh. I am talking about the disgraced lawyer, Richard Merritt. From Georgia. So this is not a case in Florida or Wisconsin. It's out of Georgia. So this lawyer apparently did the same thing that Alex Murdaugh did, and that is he stole money from his clients and apparently is also accused and convicted of elderly abuse. Well, this happened in 2019, and the judge sentenced him to 15 years. But the judge gave him 2 weeks to report to jail. So, first things first, welcome everyone. Hello, how are you? I appreciate everyone so much. If you are new to this channel, welcome. If you are returning to this channel, welcome back. And let's get into Richard Merritt. So, Richard Merritt was a personal injury attorney in Georgia, in the Atlanta area. Sandy Springs area. If you're not familiar with Georgia, I used to live in Georgia. I used to have that market, so I know a lot about Georgia. Obviously, it's also next to Alabama, so of course I know a lot about Georgia. But Richard Merritt is accused of brutally killing his 77-year-old mom. In like the worst way. I don't know what is going on with these people and the way they choose to kill, but he chose to kill his mom, stabbing her with a 9-inch blade knife, came from the kitchen, stabbed her so brutally in the back and in the face that the knife broke off in her cheekbone. So not only did he stab her to death, he also took a 35-pound dumbbell and bashed her head in until she no longer breathed air. So he left her body in the house at the bottom of the basement stairs. Now, his mom apparently is well off. They have a beautiful house, and he was living with his mom for the 2 weeks before he had to report to prison. His mom has bailed him out of other situations. He's married. He has at least one child. But they are now divorced. So the mom has been basically kind of taking care of them, helped them buy their first home. She's very involved with her son's life, helped him start up his practice. So mom is funding him, okay? Like she is very involved. And for whatever reason, instead of appreciating his mom, he felt that she was too involved in his life. Now, he didn't think she was too involved when he was taking her money for his business, right? But as it turns out, she was too involved and had too much vested in him. So she had even bought him a car, like a little Honda that he could drive around in for the couple of weeks that he was out before he had to actually go to prison, which is crazy. So she even made him her famous pasta with bolognese sauce, which is her homemade sauce. She was kind of known for that. Her daughter-in-law spoke highly of her on the stand, saying that she even uses that recipe today because it was so good. But that was the favorite meal that his mom made. So she was making him that very meal the last day that he was going to be free before he had to go to prison and report that day. So his mom's name is Shirley Merritt, and everyone has nothing but wonderful things to say about Shirley. She was a very giving, loving woman. She made him his final meal, which was the spaghetti with the bolognese sauce and fresh garlic bread that she had just taken out of the oven. All of that was still sitting in the kitchen when her body was discovered. Now, apparently, she had some friends in Birmingham that were supposed to come and help her take Richard to prison because they didn't want her to do this all alone. And they were going to drive from Birmingham to Atlanta and take Richard the extra 45 minutes to an hour and her so she wouldn't have to drive so that he could show up to his prison time that he was supposed to start and serve 15 years. Well, their friend in Birmingham gets this strange message that says, don't come. We have a lot of stuff we're talking about. We're trying to work things out, tie up some loose ends and things like that. So we don't want you to come. Just stay away. Stay away. So I am so sorry, y'all. Somebody in my apartment complex just threw away a full-length mirror, and it is really nice. I think I'm going to have to send my boyfriend to go get that thing. So anyway, gosh, it looks antique. It's so cute. I might have to run down there and get it. All right. Anyway, we're talking about Richard Merritt. Richard Merritt stabbed his mother in the face, in the back, beat her head in with a 35-pound dumbbell. Her body was discovered. He took her car, her Lexus, and fled, left Georgia, and went on the run for like 18 months, I think, 8 or 18 months before they finally caught up to him. He was in Tennessee and started a whole new relationship, was on a dating site. He started a whole new relationship. He started a whole new life, which, by the way, if y'all don't know the South, Tennessee and Georgia are pretty much connected. So he didn't go far, but he's still driving his mom's car, like driving her car everywhere. How this wasn't caught and it took this long to catch him, I don't know, but his new girlfriend, or was girlfriend at the time in Tennessee, she testified on the stand. This judge is very, I would say she's pretty fair. She is not allowing a lot of hearsay in. She's not allowing a lot of speculation in, because he's already been tried for the fraud and the theft and the elderly abuse. This is his murder trial right now. So she's trying to keep that in perspective. So the prosecution, on the other hand, though, is trying to bring in some information to show his character, to show that he was trying to hide and that he was trying to keep his life separate. But I will say, in watching this trial, Richard Merritt, because he's an attorney, and you would have thought that in the Alex Murdaugh trial, it would have been just as animated and just as flared. But Richard Merritt is super verbal, kind of like Letitia Stout. He talks a lot, and the microphones pick stuff up, and the judge had to warn him today that he needed to say what he needed to say. If he had something to say, did he have something to say? Because the microphones are picking things up that he's saying, so he needs to make sure he checks himself. So the judge is not, taking anything from anybody. She's being very fair. So they have had his ex-wife on the stand, the friend from Birmingham on the stand. They showed text messages going back and forth between the Birmingham friend and Shirley, which wasn't really Shirley texting. It was clearly her son. They talked about to the ex-wife about, the bitterness he had towards his mother, that he felt like she was too involved in his life. She also said that she didn't always get along with his mom, but she loved her. So apparently his mom was kind of, in their business a little bit, but did it warrant being stabbed and a knife blade being stuck in the side of your face? And being bashed with a 35-pound dumbbell. Oh my gosh, it is just crazy. So they had they have a crime lab technician that also is supposed to be on the stand. He is obviously accused of bludgeoning his mom, stabbing her. They analyzed the hair, the knife, which they found only the handle of because the sharp piece was in her head. She testified that she examined the knife. Obviously, this had fingerprints, impressions. So this is a pretty brutal case. It's pretty disgusting and awful. They've had the FBI that followed the data. He was also wearing an ankle monitor during his 2 weeks little stint before he had to report to prison. So he's wearing an ankle monitor, and he cuts the ankle monitor off, and he throws it not far from where the actual person who's monitoring his ankle monitor is. And he goes to get it and realizes he's not attached to it anymore. So Yeah, so he cuts off his ankle monitor, runs away after killing his mom brutally, takes her car, and lives a whole other life in Tennessee. So we now have witnesses on the stand. We have the data, obviously. The data, y'all. I think data is more important than DNA these days because you cannot escape the data. So the data show where he was on that ankle monitor, where he ended. The data show where he was using the GPS on the car, how many places he'd been to. So y'all, watch the data, man. You cannot escape technology. So he is very verbal. He is super mad, super irritated in this trial. I don't know what he thinks he's going to get out of this, but there are things that it's just insane that he would think that he could get off somehow, but his attorneys are very good. They are objecting to everything. They are not allowing in a lot of evidence. They are strictly, trying to make sure that I kind of think that when they interviewed the friend from Birmingham, that they sort of kind of went after him a little bit, like he was the one who may have killed Shirley, because where was he at, and how did he discover the body? And so he did go. He did finally decide to go and check on Shirley because he hadn't heard from her, and the text messages were weird. So he drove from Birmingham, drove to Shirley's house. Somebody else there had a key to Shirley's house. He went in and he found her. And I think the guy is her cousin. So it is just really sad that, he found her that way at the bottom of the stairs. The food's still in the kitchen. Like somebody was still there. And Richard Merritt he changed his entire look when he went to Tennessee. So right now he's bald-headed, has a bit of a goatee. But when he was in Tennessee, he had let his hair grow out. So he didn't look like he does right now. So I don't really know what his defense is. I've just been trying to catch up on the trial. I don't know what they're trying to use as a defense. But they are just saying that he obviously stabbed and bludgeoned his mother to death. He's a disgraced lawyer. That seems to be a good term to use these days. And poor Shirley. Poor Shirley to live to 77 years old and be killed in such a brutal way by her own son, who did nothing but take care of him and give him everything that he ever wanted. Y'all, spare the rod, spoil the child is all I know. So clearly she spoiled the child. So I will just say it's a very interesting trial. He is very animated. He is very verbal. And he was on the run for 8 months, not 18 months, 8 months, till the marshals caught up with him. They found the car. They found him. The girlfriend in Tennessee said he was kind of weird. He got too serious too fast, that kind of stuff. So lots of crazy things. Like this guy, I'm not really sure what is wrong with him, but he had a good, successful life. He just got greedy and he got caught. And then he was going to go to prison. And I don't know what he had to gain from killing his mother. So here's another situation where there's like, why? Why did this happen? Why did he do this? And if he was going to run, did he have to kill his mom to do it? That just makes no sense. None of this makes any sense. But you know what, y'all? When people do things like this, it never makes any sense. It just doesn't. So that is so far what's going on. That's been, the trial's been going on for a couple of days. And so far, it has not disappointed. But just mainly because of the brutality of the crime and the sadness that I feel for Shirley, her cousin, her family, people she was so good to. I mean, and her son, who she basically took care of, and he's a grown man. So, she's in the middle of making him a meal that's his favorite meal, that's her signature dish, so that that can be his last meal before he goes to prison. And what does he do? He kills her for that. So I would just say, stay tuned. We're going to keep up with this trial. I don't know if he'll speak in his own defense, like Alex Murdaugh did. But lawyers seem to be kind of greedy and crazy. So this is an exciting trial. There's another trial that happened. It only took 2 days to happen. We'll talk about that. but it was a cold case, so I was really surprised that the trial only lasted 2 days, 2.5 days maybe. But it was that was a pretty gnarly trial. And the defendant testified on the stand, and it was absolutely awful. It was so disrespectful and sad. But today we are talking about Richard Merritt, who killed his mother brutally, stabbing her and bludgeoning her head with a 35-pound dumbbell, leaving her body at the basement stairs after she had just made a wonderful meal for him before he was going to have to go serve time for stealing and elderly abuse. So let's see what happens. I guess from an alternate juror perspective, I don't know yet what the evidence is, other than obviously his fingerprints are on the weapons. He did flee. He did cut off his ankle monitor. So I really don't know what his defense is. I really have no idea what they're trying to say. You know, I did get the feeling they're trying to put the blame on someone else, or they're trying to say that it was a break-in gone bad or something. But we'll just have to see what happens. So thanks y'all so much. I appreciate you. Kamsahamnida. And I just want to let you know, South Korea, y'all, happy Asian Heritage Month. And South Korea right now is really, 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 I will say this. There is something going on in this world, not that we don't know that, but obviously the U.S. is losing its mind. But South Korea is now forcing all K-pop all eligible males to get their butt in the military. Because I'm not sure if you're aware, but in South Korea, guys, eligible, healthy, able-bodied men have to serve 2 years of military service. Have to. And they have to do it before they're 29. A lot of K-pop and actors put this off. They can put it off up to 2 times. Some try to put it off further because their careers are going along. But the new president of South Korea is forcing these guys to get in the military right now. So a lot of my favorite K-pop idols are joining the military right now because they don't have a choice. The president is not giving them an option. He's actually not even giving them much notice. They thought they had more time, and they don't. So something's happening, y'all, and I will just say this also. It is not a coincidence that this is happening after he visited the United States and met Joe Biden and sang "Bye-bye, Miss American Pie" to Joe Biden. So y'all take that for whatever it's worth, but I take it as they are getting ready because they know that America is not going to be here to help them, that we do not have the resources. We do not have what it takes to defend South Korea, and it's going to be up to them to do it for themselves. And I hate that because I don't know where everything is heading, but that is your Korean current news and events of the day. And again, Kamsahamnida, and I will see you in the next video. Please like, subscribe, and share.